Alright, y'all, man, it's your bro Humble League 2 times for me. Back in that video, man, for me. Follow the Instagram at Humble League 2 times. Now look, just for this time, we're talking about learn how to listen. Now look, for up today's video, I want to give a huge shout out to the Most High in general for everything. I'm also giving you a shout out to myself as well for wanting to receive this good information and give out this good information as well. I'm also giving you a shout out to everyone and to y'all. Y'all literally take energy out of y'all today to come rock me, show love, support, you feel me? I appreciate y'all, man. I love y'all so much more. Love always deeply. I'm also sending good positive energy towards everyone always. Also, if you want to book a one-on-one consultation with me, just DM me on my Instagram at HumbleOllie2times. I'm gonna say that one more time, just DM me on my Instagram at HumbleOllie2times. Let's go ahead and get ready into the video. Learn to listen. Now look, right? What do I mean by learn how to listen? Bro, learn how to, let me get right here. Learn how to listen, bro. Learn how to be quiet. Learn how to take that role of just listening, right? Because a lot of times what we'll do is that we'll want to know something, but sometimes if you just be quiet and you really listen and pay attention and focus, your answer, a lot of times people's answer will get, a lot of times people's questions will already get answered if they just listen, right? Another thing is too, right? A lot of people will start to feel more comfortable talking to you and being around you because you're listening, right? One thing that a lot of people, what everybody loves to do, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people love to do what? They love to talk. They love to talk about themselves. See, when you let people talk your ear off, right? To them, they might look at you as like, okay, this is somebody very cool. This is somebody that I can really connect with and really bond with because they get me. They might feel like you get them because you're listening to them. A lot of times, bro, people don't want an apology. A lot of times people don't want you to talk or try to say something. A lot of times, bro, people just want you to listen, right? You know, a lot of women want their boyfriends or husbands or whatever the case is just to listen, just to hear what they have to say, right? Vice versa, right? So what I want you to understand and understand is that learn how to listen. Learn the craft of listening. Now, that doesn't sit here, I'm not sitting here saying that you got to sit here and let people vent to you all the time. I don't recommend letting people vent to you all the time. And I also don't recommend, like, if you are going to let people vent to you, I recommend you to be mindful and not just, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't, like, I don't want you to, like, get into something that you're not ready for. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of energy when it comes into venting, right? So, yes, y'all, it's very important to know how to listen, bro. You don't have to always talk, right? And another thing is, too, right, is that when you're not always, like, talking, right, you get a chance to actually, like, see what's going on, right? Because a lot of times people just want to talk. But a lot of times when you're talking, you might actually miss out on a question that you, an answer that you want, you might have missed out on the answer to the question that you wanted to ask, right? Another thing is too, right, is that when you were talking, you're giving out a lot of energy, whether if you realize it or not. You don't have to always talk, even if you're like talking to people or whatever, you don't have to always start a conversation, right? A conversation is to tell people, like, you know, how you feel or what you got going on or whatever, right? Or tell a story or whatever, right? If you don't have nothing to say, if you don't feel like you want to say anything, you don't necessarily have to say something. It is okay to let the other person talk, right? And another thing is too, a lot of times people that do is like they don't want to put their business out, right? Or say certain things or tell people certain information, right? But when you're constantly talking, especially if you're trying to keep a conversation going, a lot of people just kind of naturally just tell their business because you're constantly talking for so long and then you're trying to keep the conversation going, but you don't really have anything to talk about, so you just start talking about your personal life. You see what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? It's important to know how to listen. Excuse me. So yes, y'all, it's very important to know how to listen. And a lot of people, well, if you want, I don't recommend trying to make people try to like you and stuff, but if you want people to like you, a good way for people to like you is by listening. Because a lot of people love a person that can listen, right? Now, this is not going to work for everybody. Some people just not going to want to be your friend or whatever the case may be, right? But for a lot of people, they will be your friend just because you listen. Just because you heard what they had to say, and you were not just listening, you really paid attention to what they said, and you admired and you respected what they said. You might not have agreed on it, but you respected and admired and really heard what they said. A lot of times, bro, people just want to be heard. A lot of times, bro, people just want attention. So when you give people attention, when you give people your energy, and you give people your respect and your admiration, etc., they start to become obsessed with you. They start to want your attention and want your energy more, right? You ever notice how the person who's really quiet in the room, they always have the most attention. They always have the most eyes on them, right? Why? Because they are holding their energy. A lot of times when people are talking, they're giving out energy, but that one person that just isn't really talking, when they finally, if they do finally talk, the whole room has shifted to them. All the energy is on that person now. Why? Because they have the most respect in that room. They are not doing a lot of talking. They're not doing a lot of unnecessary talking. They're talking when they need to talk. They're talking when it actually makes sense to talk. They're not just sitting here just talking just to talk. You know, so even if you're in a conversation, or if it's just a one-on-one conversation, never feel like you have to force a conversation or say something, just even if you like, because a lot of times people will say mean things just to keep a conversation going. Like, but in reality, they don't even mean those things. Like, you're not even that type of person. You're just trying to keep this conversation going, or you're trying to impress this person, or whatever the case may be, right? Another thing is too, by listening, is that when you listen, instead of always talking, you can like realize and really see, like you can really feel a person's energy and see who a person is when you listen. Another thing too, when you listen, let's say you want to get information on somebody. If you really want to get information on somebody, you don't have to stalk them on social media. You don't have to sit there and try to ask your friend or ask somebody to go try to get intel. Just listen. If you listen and be quiet, people will tell you a lot more than what they actually meant to tell you. See, the people who listen and don't do a lot of talking, they gain a lot of intel and a lot of information on people, whether if they're trying to do it or not, because they're being quiet, they're listening, they're engaging into the conversation without actually talking. A lot of people don't. A lot of people feel like a lot of people feel for them to engage into a conversation, they have to talk. It's multiple different ways to engage into a conversation. You don't necessarily have to talk back to engage into a conversation. But that's one of the main things that a lot of people do to engage back in the conversation. Another way to engage in the conversation is literally by being quiet and actually listening, etc. But look, right? Now here's another thing, right? When you're listening, right, you're letting the other person do more talking. For a lot of times, bro, a lot of times when the person that's listening, the other person starts to feel more comfortable and they start to talking more. Let them talk. Let them talk their head off. You do not want to tell people your business. You do not want to tell people what you got going on, right? You don't want to mess up your goals. You don't want to mess up your energy, etc. Let them talk their head off. You don't talk your head off unless that's just what you want to do, right? If you want to keep things private, if you want to keep things to yourself, let them talk. Just listen. And the more you keep listening and engaging, instead of trying to talk over them or instead of trying to talk as soon as they get done talking, right? Because a lot of people can realize like when you're trying to hurry up and get to your point. People can realize when you're trying to just, yeah, okay, cool, yeah, but you're really just not even really listening. You're really just trying to hurry up and say what you want to say, right? People can feel that energy, right? But when they're done talking and you're not real quick to say anything, or you don't say anything at all, a lot of people like that. A lot of people love that. They're thrilled by that because you're not so quick to make it all about you. And by you doing that, they're going to actually make it more about you, right? Excuse me. So yes, y'all, when you are listening, you can gain a lot of information. And not just that, a lot of people will like you more because you're not so quick to say what you want to say. You're not so quick to try to over-talk people. A lot of times conversations is not even a real conversation. It's just people overly talking, and just it's an ego conversation. They're both just trying to say what they want to say. They don't really actually care what the other person has to say. They just want to get off and say what they want to say. And that's the honest truth, bro. Like, it's kind of like an argument, right? An argument is just ego. It's an ego battle. It's a verbal battle. It's a verbal ego battle. They're both just trying to tell their story or whatever, and they both want it to make sense to the other person, or they want the other person to be like, yes, I'm right. Tell me I'm right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that, right? So, etc. But yeah, though, man, when you listen, right, you can get a lot of information. A lot of people will like you. A lot of people will love you. They'll want to be your friend, be cool with you, etc. because you listen, right? You know, especially with women. Women love when you just actually like be quiet and just listen, right? I'm not sitting here saying you gotta like not talk the whole time, but you know, a lot of times, a lot of women, they just want you to listen, right? They want to tell you their stories and what they've been through and how their day went, I just want you to listen, bro, a lot of times, bro. But look, man, if you want to book a one-on-one consultation with me, just DM me on my Instagram at HumbleOddly 2 times, and I'll catch y'all for Mills and Mills on the next one, man. Peace.